Alright, good morning ladies and gentlemen. In this video I'm going to show you how to make an elevation view, and what we're going to do is we're going to create the elevations of all sides of our house. The south side of the house, which should be the front, east, north, and west. What it's going to look like to begin with is what you're looking at right here. Yes, it does look very simple. I have not stylized it or anything like that. The main thing I wanted to get out of this is the representation of the front of the house, and of course I'm also going to put dimensions on this toward the end of the video, to mark the heights of everything, primarily the wall heights. The window heights really isn't necessary because you have your windows on your schedule. And of course you can see how high it is simply by looking at the picture. You can see it's the same height as the door, so the windows would just kind of the carpenters would put two and two together and know exactly how to design that window. So that's another reason that we do our schedules, so the carpenters know again what size window to place, and also how high it is, and where it's going to come as far as the window sill, how far down the window sill is going to come. Alright, so what I want to do, there's these little arrows on the side of your navigation cube, or what we call the view cube, and we want to twist it around. And I'm going to click this arrow right here, and it's going to twist it 90 degrees in that direction so I can work on the east side of the house. Alright, now what I want to do on the east side of the house is I want to create some construction lines, and that's basically how I got this. I did what we call transferring of geometry, or projecting geometry. So we're going to project the east side of the house right down here below it, as if we were looking at the east side, as if we were standing on the ground looking at it. Okay, so I'm going to start. I'm going to go to the draw panel and choose the construction line. Okay, and that's this little line. If you didn't see that well, it's this little line right here, little type of line, construction line. Has an arrow that points both ways, and you can see with the drop down instructions what it actually does. You can see a little grid shape there, so it's kind of a guide. Alright, to place these lines, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hover over here at the corner, because I want to mark the furthest extents, the far left and the far right of this side of the house. Alright, so I clicked, and of course you can see it gives me a line. And I want to set that line in place, and then click again, and it places that first line screen-wise vertically, so I can mark that side of the house. Now there's still a line attached to my cursor, so I'm going to end the command by pushing the enter button, and then I'm going to restart the command by pushing the enter button again. Okay, it's a handy little shortcut there. So I marked both sides of my house, and I'm doing that whole thing. Every time I make a line, I'm hitting enter to end the command, and then enter again to restart the command. I also want to mark my windows. Okay, so I'm marking the furthest extent of the windows. And you can make these lines on any layer that you want to. Right now you see I'm making mine on the door layer. It doesn't matter, because as soon as you get done using them, you're going to delete them. Alright, so now I have my doors and the window and the furthest extents of the left and the right of that view. And I'm going to project that view right down below it. I'm going to click on the exterior wall layer, because I want these lines to be on the exterior wall layer, because that's what I'm looking at. And you just come down and choose a spot. About right in here somewhere is good. You might end up adjusting it later when you start putting your roof on. But for now, we'll just start right here. And we're going to draw it straight across. Make sure it is straight across and that it comes up perpendicular. And that's kind of what this little symbol does. The symbol doesn't get any larger, but if you see that symbol that's in my cursor right now, that basically indicates that we are perpendicular. Right here, there's it looks almost like an hourglass, and that does not represent being perpendicular. Now it does. And it'll even tell you that you're perpendicular in the little side dynamic input. Now what I need to do is establish my wall heights. And of course we know by code that all load-bearing walls, which will typically be all of your outside walls, must be 8 feet high and no higher. So I am going to use that standard, and I'm going to click offset. I'm going to type in 8 feet. Oops, that's 6. 8 feet. And offset that line. And then I'm going to come and draw everything in the two sides basically. I'm just going to kind of close up the continuous loop here. Alright, so there we have the face of the house minus the window and door. So to bring the window down, we're just going to use this space right here, and there's two things we want to determine as well, and that is our door height and our window height. Now again, another typical practice is the window height is the same as the door height. It just looks symmetrically better that way. So door height by code is 6 foot 8 inches. So I'm going to offset that, and actually I think the code has changed a little bit, but still people are going to place 6 foot 8 inch doors. If you go to Home Depot or Lowe's or anywhere like that, all the doors are going to be 6 foot 8 inches. So I'm going to type in 6 foot 8 inches into my dynamic input, and there we go, I get the door height. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I have this window over here. I know how tall that window is. That window is, of course, it's 4 feet wide, which I've already got marked right there. And the height of it is going to be 4.5 feet. So I can actually offset this line, the one I just placed, offset it again, and I'm going to type in 4.5 feet. And now I have the bottom of that windowsill marked. Alright, now changing over to the door layer, I can draw my door with this rectangle, the rectangle tool right there. And all I have to do is go from corner. Now of course remember, the door goes all the way to the ground. So we're going to take it all the way to the bottom. There's our door. And then I'm going to switch to the window layer and do the same thing. Choose the rectangle tool. And now of course I will draw this window right into that place that I just created. Alright. Now that I'm done, I don't have any other lines or any other geometry to transfer. I am just going to get rid of those construction lines. And these right here would also be considered construction lines as well, even though they're not using the construction line tool. But I did use them to guide my drawing. And there we are. So I now have the east side of my house. So what I want to do now next is I'll also want to indicate my wall height. I don't need to indicate my door height or anything like that because that's just common sense. Okay, but we always, even though the wall height would be common sense as well, we always want to indicate that because there are cases where your wall would be shorter than 8 feet for whatever reasons. So to do that, to place the measurement of the wall height out here, well actually I think I'm going to save that for dimensions. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to save that for dimensions.